think it was me touching the lines.
Yeah, I'll just let y'all know. Hopefully we can get coverage. If we touch them at all, it's just gonna pop. I tried adjusting them, but it's the base.
So I pulled it out. So we're not looking at
Up all night?
Tell you what, we do need to Bob doesn't need
Did y'all?
loud enough. We angle this.
Yeah, we probably.
Yeah, I think you can hear. What is this?
It's that
Yeah.
Let's do this.
What is all this? My package?
And then, yeah, here we go. Let's do this.
Oh,
Yeah, I think it's that.
Renee, did that traffic letter look good?
Honestly, I printed it out and have read it, and I trust you.
You
I'm
trust
trying to
Joe?
get everybody. We're trying to get all these to capture.
I think I'm
Handed
live.
it out.
I see you right here, number 7.
I know
right here, Renee.
he accuses me of being a shrinking butterfly, but
No worries, no worries.
there's Rachel. Violet. Yeah, Mac always says it's a shrinking butterfly.
Right, that's the back. Violet.
Violet.
Yes.
And she can't really be shrinked as a butterfly.
How you doing?
I feel it's liquid and I will.
Unless you want to be a
I think I'm
Good morning. If I could have everyone's attention, please. This is the April 5th meeting of the Walton County Technical Review Committee. Thank everyone for coming. It's 8:30. Let's get started. First item on our agenda is the request to approve minutes from February 4, 2015. Everybody hadn't had a chance to review those minutes?
2015. Office?
Do we have a motion to approve?
I make a motion.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? There being none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed likewise? There being none, motion carries. The next item of business is the approval of the March 4, 2015 minutes. Do you have any corrections to those? Do we have a motion to approve?
Motion.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed likewise? There being none, motion is approved. Next item is the May 6, 2015 minutes. Do we have any discussion or need for correction?
I'll move approval.
We have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Bob. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed likewise? There being none, motion carries. Next item is the approval of the September 7, 2016 minutes. Do we have any corrections to those minutes? Do we have a motion to approve?
Motion.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed likewise? There being none, motion carries. And last set of minutes, March 1st, 2017. Do we have any corrections to those minutes?
Motion.
We have a motion to approve
Second.
and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed likewise? There being none, motion approved. Okay, do we have any announcements this morning? Okay, let's get right into our project review. First item on our agenda is the Fox Lake Residential. Being reviewed by Rita. I'll try to speak up a little bit louder. First item on our agenda is Fox Lake Residential, being reviewed by Rita.
Yes, this is a minor development order application submitted by Emerald Coast Associates, consisting of 79 single-family homes on a little less than 30 acres with the future land use of low-density residential. And this item was continued from the last TRC, and since then, we didn't get a resubmittal in time to be able to review, so we don't have any new information, but Dean is here to give us a status update. That should be a need for that.
Right. We did respond to the comments recently, and I understand staff hasn't had a chance to look at those prior to this meeting. The key comment that I saw in that TRC that we discussed last month was the vertical curve on County Road 393 in the intersection of Ridge Road, and do we meet site distance requirements and stopping distance requirements. We've completed that study. It's included in the resubmittal, and it does meet stopping requirements. There are no turn lanes or lights required. Our traffic analysis has been updated to state that. However, in an abundance of caution, we spoke with Public Works. They suggested that we move the 35-mile-an-hour speed zone further north, away from the hill, to try to get people to slow down before they get to the hill rather than as they approach the hill. That 35-mile-an-hour speed zone will be relocated to Cypress Pond Road, and we've agreed to do that. The other comments were relatively minor in nature, clarifications and so forth, which we've also responded to. We'd be hopeful that staff could review these prior to the next TRC meeting. Hopefully, it's fine by us to, attend that TRC meeting, get any feedback that we have from the county and from the adjacent property owners, and move right into Planning Commission if at all possible.
And I think that is possible. We have a couple weeks to look at it, and if we think it's gonna go okay the next TRC, then we'll do that. So I make the recommendation to continue to the next TRC. That's my motion.
We have a motion to continue to next month's TRC,
Which is May 3rd.
May 3rd, 8:30 here in this building. Do we have a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed likewise? Motion carried. This one's continued to May 3rd, 2017. Next item on our agenda is the Old Florida Village Phase 2 PUD amendment.
Mr. Chair, this is a major development order application submitted by Emerald Coast Associates requesting approval to amend Phase 2 of the PUD for Old Florida Village by removing office space and adding 21 multifamily units and pole for future land use of small neighborhood on 3.40 acres. And staff's recommendation today is that we table this until we get the additional information that staff has requested.
Understood. I believe my office has been contacting you all to try to get a meeting where we can sit down and go over these items, and we'll see if we can't get that meeting scheduled and work out the comments and discussion that we have on that. It has to do with the additional uses that are required in small neighborhood. The prior PUD did not encompass those uses, and so there's a discussion that I think we need to have, whether we are quote-unquote grandfathered under the old PUD or whether we're obligated to meet the small neighborhood requirements. And I think that's a better conversation for another day rather than during TRC.
If we can get that resolved before advertising for next TRC, we can put it back on next month.
Okay, that'd be great. That's what we would hope for.
We have a motion to table.
Make a motion to table.
We have
I'll
a
second.
Have a second from Renee. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed likewise? This item is tabled until further notice. Next item on our agenda is Lot 16, South Walton Commerce Park, being reviewed by Bob Veracchi.
This is a major development order application submitted by ECM requesting approval of 7,900 square feet of wholesale storage, future land use of business park on 0.78 plus or minus acres. This project came before the TCC last month, and we asked them to go back and review and meet with staff and come back, so we had a better idea what they were doing. Bill and myself met with them, and we have kind of addressed the issues we had. So we've put it back on the agenda for today, and we're basically the use is going to be a distillery with office space. The issues we had with the outside seating have been removed, parking has been met, conditions have been met by the applicant. So at this point, like, we could turn it over to ECM if they have anything
Tom
else
Talty,
to add.
we've received your comments, we've responded to those comments, we're ready to put that in this afternoon, the minor engineering comments you had. So we're good to go.
Okay.
So since we did have this meeting and the committee as a whole was concerned, we addressed those concerns at a subsequent meeting. So I'd like to make a motion to continue, consider a conditional approval of Lot 16, South Walton Commerce Park, major development order pending resolution of all outstanding issues or comments.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed likewise? There being none, motion carries. This item will move forward to the Planning Commission upon satisfaction of outstanding comments.
Where's Andrew?
Okay, number 4, Myers Park, being reviewed by Bob Baranti.
Mr. Chair, this is a major development order application submitted by Jenkins Engineering, requesting approval to construct a 7,000 square foot neighborhood commercial space. This project is located on US Highway West North on North County Road. It's 9.75 plus or minus acres, and the future land use is neighborhood infill. We have some comments both on the analysis and just environmental and planning and engineering, but I don't think there's anything major that can't be accomplished by addressing the comments and resubmittal. And the applicant is here to speak.
Yeah, no, we didn't have any major issues or concerns. The only thing that we did come up and that we were wondering about is we were asked the question how we determine the compensatory or the volume needed to offset the fill in the area. And we weren't told we were wrong, we were just asked how it was done, and to which the way we view this is for that comment, we're bringing in X amount of fill. So the way we view that is if we have a system beginning at grade, we dig it down, we offset that with the same amount of capacity within that pond. And when we went back to the code, it says hydraulic equivalent in a 1-to-1 ratio. So that's the way that we've been doing it. That's what we've done in projects in the past, all the projects up to this point. So I guess our question was, is this the correct way that we're doing it? Is there a different way that needs to be done?
Well, my concern was if you're talking about a hydraulic equivalent, if you dig down below the water table, you're not gaining any volume for storage. So I was wondering how that 56,000 cubic yards was provided in addition to your stormwater requirements. I understand our code is unclear about what's required. I was hoping Aaron was here for a little bit more discussion about that.
Yeah, and like I said, that's the way we viewed it is we dug a hole, in layman's terms, we dug a hole, hole has this much capacity, it's the same as this, so we looked at it as equivalent.
Yeah, I understand, but you can dig 20 feet below the water table and you're not gaining any capacity.
I understand.
You're just stealing dirt for fill.
And that's been our question is, because it is unclear how this needs to be addressed and what is viewed, because said, all the projects we've done up to this point, this is how we've designed it and went forward with it.
The projects that we've approved in the past, and I know that you guys have done those, you've had enough volume above your normal pool elevation
Okay.
to account for that. This is quite a bit, this is a large amount of volume here, and then the next project on the list, Indian Woman subdivision, it needs almost twice that much.
Okay.
So that's where I'm concerned about the compensatory storage volume requirement.
Right. That's
And
that's our question is how does the county want it to be done?
Our floodplain manager is at a conference this week, so I will get with him and get you a response back as soon as I can when he comes back next week.
Okay. 'Cause that's actually the next project up. That was one of the questions as well. So there's two projects need to be have that question addressed.
This is the most significant outstanding comment.
it's pretty much the only engineering outstanding comment.
That and yeah, that in the compatibility analysis comment. But there's nothing that we couldn't conditionally approve it and get it, everything fixed by a resubmittal unless you feel otherwise.
The other option, which I've seen done, is that you do the analysis of the floodplain to show that the fill you're bringing in doesn't affect the overall floodplain elevation, but that's a pretty extensive study. I don't know if you guys want to get Aaron's take on it, but when it talks about a hydraulically equivalent, you need to gain volume. You're not gaining any volume as you dig below the water table.
Right. When we tried to find what was meant by that, we couldn't find anything in the code, and we tried to go through FEMA, and FEMA was very vague in what they meant by that as well.
Oh, I know. I researched it quite a bit myself when I was reviewing it.
One other comment
You
relates
haven't
to
said anything else?
the floor area ratio maximum.
Yeah, that was a typo actually. The report is like, if I remember right, it's 4.9%. It's not very much.
Okay, so we aren't exceeding.
No, sir. That was just a typo on my part.
And there were a couple others in there that I identified in my comments in all your projects.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's really not an issue.
No, it's a very small.
We
small
thought
site,
that
so-
at staff, at peer review, but since it was in there, I made the comment.
Yeah, it was supposed to say it does not exceed the 50%, and it said it did.
Yeah, that would have been a deal killer.
Yeah, no, it's I went back and looked at our plans. I think we have it as 4.9%.
The hydrologically equivalent storage question, we can resolve next week.
Okay.
Do we have a motion on this project?
Make a motion to conditionally approve pending resubmittal and addressing of all the issues and comments.
I'll
Do we have a
second. I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on this project, Myers Park?
Yeah.
I think the flood issue and having enough storm volume is pretty significant. I actually don't feel very comfortable moving it through TRC with these outstanding questions on it.
Well, it can't move forward until engineering signed off on it either way, so I don't see where the difference is other than holding them up.
Because it won't get moved to plan commission until
All
the
comments are
comments have
satisfied.
been addressed. So it's up to them how long it takes them to address their comments.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed likewise? One nay. From Rita. This project is conditionally approved to move forward, subject to satisfaction of the outstanding comments, and that main comment being addressing hydraulic equivalent storage.
Okay.
And also in your report, there's a picture from environmental that
Yeah,
they want you to address too.
Yeah,
Remember
I've
that.
already reached out to the guy who did the assessment out there to get correspondence with those questions. And we've already addressed the survey stuff. In fact, it came in this morning, so most of the questions have already been addressed, except for just a couple.
Bob, if you can make a note, let's get with Aaron and see how soon we can get the meeting scheduled when he gets back on Tuesday. Okay, next item on our agenda is the Indian Woman subdivision, also being reviewed by Bob Baranti.
Mr. Chair, this is a major development order application submitted by Jenkins Engineering requesting approval to construct a 31 plus or minus single family subdivision. The project is located from US Highway West to 98 West to North County Road 393 at the intersection of 393 and Chat Hawley, turn east to Indian Woman Road. The proposed parcel is 9.79 plus or minus acres with a future land use of neighborhood infill. This also has comments from most of the reviewing agencies. I haven't got the response from the fire marshal yet. GIS has issues with it that you'll have to address with GIS, and then also the compatibility analysis will also need to be addressed. But other than that, I think that we could move this project to the same status to conditionally approve. But the applicants here also, do you have anything?
No, I mean, this one's pretty straightforward. In fact, we've already started addressing several of these, such as the GIS, getting names for them and things like that. The surveyor did ask, we had a comment for the survey to add certification. He was asking for clarification on that.
I'll send you a copy of the standard one.
Okay, thank you.
Recommend.
I appreciate that. No, the only other question, which sounds like hopefully we'll get some guidance on next week, was the same as the previous one, with the having the equivalent storage capacity within the system.
Yeah, it's the same. This one, you're saying you need 126,000 cubic feet. That's quite difficult to attain when you're trying to get that many lots in there. The other thing is you probably need to you're gonna have to revise it for the 100-year storm because you're discharging to that mosquito control ditch.
Yeah.
So that may increase your volume on top of this compensated storage volume. So we'll try to get some clarification on what kind of storage we have to provide.
Okay.
This one seems a little more difficult than the last one.
Just a little bit.
The last one, you have acreage behind the development to
Yeah.
increase your storage volume. This one, you're maxed out. But I guess we'll try to get some clarification from the floodplain manager and try to give some direction on how to move forward,
Does this one appear impossible?
in my opinion,
Yeah, okay.
unless we determine how we're gonna treat these and then move forward on every project that way.
Well, I mean, the issue is there's really no guidance in the code as to how you achieve that, so it's really your design that will make that happen. And so, and I don't know what Aaron's gonna be able to provide really. On the first one, you're probably gonna need a better wetland delineation on that rear property, the whatever's left back there, because it looks like there's some old flags out there. And, you know, when I was out there, it looked pretty wet, at least
Okay.
right to the rear of that. So, we'll have to see what you can do.
Yeah, well, like I said, we've already, Biome was the environmental person out there, or company that did that EA for us, so we've already reached out to them to get some guidance on those questions.
Yeah, he just needs to be real consistent in his reports so that, you know, when those get forwarded on through the public processes, it's correct. You know, I noticed this last round, there were numerous inconsistencies in several of those, and that causes problems later on, so you might wanna, I think we all need to make sure those are correct.
This one is likely to affect the number of lots.
Okay.
Which could require significant redesign.
Okay.
Given that this one has a few more issues than the one before it, how do we feel about it?
Would you like to continue it or table it and bring it back through TRC? I'd have no objections to that.
I would second that motion that we bring it back.
Why don't we continue this one to next month? We'll address the storage volume question on this project along with the one previous to it, or next week.
Okay.
Would you like me to make a motion then? I'd like to make a motion to continue Indian Woman subdivision to the next TRC to allow the applicant to meet with the floodplain manager and do further research and adjustments to this project as deemed necessary.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed likewise? Okay, the motion carries. This will be continued until May 3rd. Next item on our agenda is item number 6, lots 18, 19, and 20 at South Walton Commerce Park. Being reviewed by Bob Aronti.
This is a major development order application, Mr. Chair.
Just wanted to say I apologize to TRC committee. I have reviewed all the projects on the agenda. I just have not submitted the comments, so if there's any questions, I have my notes, so I apologize. Thank you.
Thank you.
This is a major development order submitted by O'Connell and Associates, requesting to develop and construct an 18,187 square foot office warehouse space on 1.447 plus or minus acres with a future land use of business park district. There were some comments. There weren't anything that was really sticking out that would look difficult to address, except maybe Aaron's issue, which is probably the most difficult. And
Sounds
we
like
got
Aaron's gonna be busy next week.
yes, so we got that. Aaron had already been working with the applicant ahead of the submittal, so I'll turn it over to the applicant if he.
Sure, yeah, other than the flood thing, we've got everything's relatively minor. We've been actively working with Aaron. We've requested a base flood elevation because we have some question about whether it's actually a flood zone or not. And I think we're going to resolve those issues. It might end up requiring some type of loan ladder to do that, but we'll see. I believe we can still handle the land development code issues, but outside of that. If I've got any other questions, I'll be happy to try and answer them.
So with that being said, I guess I'd like to make a motion to conditionally approve lots 18, 19, and 20, South Walton Commerce Park, pending for major development or pending resolution of all outstanding issues and comments.
Okay, we have a motion by Bob. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Rita. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed likewise? Okay, this one's approved subject to comment satisfaction.
Thank you very much.
That brings us to item number 7, Prominence the Hub, Custom 3 building modification.
This is a minor development order application submitted by Interlight Engineering Corporation requesting to approve an increase to the Hub Custom 3 building from 3,203 to 6,400 square feet, from 1-story to a 2-story building of general commercial development within the Prominence Phase 2 South Commercial Development. This is on .81 acres with a future land use traditional neighborhood. We have some minor questions. I think that they seem, there's quite a few, but there are none of them that are deal killers. The biggest question that I had on this was on the traffic, and since we have revised the traffic, and David, did you get the revised traffic this morning?
Yes, we did.
And that was just to encompass, because on the Hub commercial buildings, we have a drawdown table for each building. So this had to be added on to what we had in the original traffic that we got, only showed the addition, didn't show what we previously had as well. David, do you have any questions about the comments?
We don't. We've, and for the record, David Smith with Interlight Engineering Corporation.
Florian Lazar, Interlight Engineering.
And we have received comments from Renee. We've reviewed them. They're minor, and we have no further questions.
Does anybody from TRC have any questions?
So we're gonna insert the revised traffic into the report?
I will. I'll amend the report accordingly.
All right.
And with that said, I'd make a motion to approve this with all comments being met. And this will go straight to a development order.
Motion by Renee and second by Bob. Any further discussion? There being none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed likewise? There being none, motion carries to continue subject to satisfaction, approved subject to satisfaction of outstanding comments.
If it would please the TRC, can I just go to the Prominence Hub replat and come back to Emerald Bay, being it's with this project? Yes.
Project? Yeah, we can move that. That's number 18.
Actually, number 9.
Sorry, I should have brought my glasses.
Okay. This is a replat application submitted by Interlight Engineering requesting approval of replat for Lot 18 to correspond with the increase of commercial development for the Hub Custom 3 building from 3,203 to 6,400 square feet on .073 acres. The difference in acreage, of course, is because we're just replatting that one lot. I don't have any major outstanding comments on this, mostly just dates that need to be changed on the plat. Traffic, of course, will correspond with the previous traffic that we just mentioned. And there's no major, you've got the Walton County Land Development Code requires public dedication of greenways. There was no greenways associated with Lot 18, Kristen. So is there anything?
Well,
I was a little bit concerned because I didn't see anything on 18 that.
No, but we're modifying a plat. It seems like to me on these, we require the greenway dedication as part of the DO, but then there's never any follow-up to ensure that that actually gets dedicated to the
No,
public.
we put that dedication on each plat.
Well, I didn't see it on this last plat.
And that might have been because we didn't have any greenway in the commercial section
That's
that would be on there.
Yeah,
And that's what I was going to say. There's no greenway within the hub at all.
Is it? I didn't see it on the adjacent plat either.
Well, it's on the residential plats that are adjacent to the greenways. We've ensured that on each one. We can go back through them together if you like, but I've made sure that they're on each one.
Yeah, because, I mean, if this is an opportunity to make sure we have that, because we're.
Well, this
changing
particular
the
one
plat.
doesn't have any greenway, so.
And furthermore, the owners of this plat are different than the owners within the plats that have the greenways, if you follow me. So there's nothing for this owner to dedicate,
Yeah, and
if you follow me.
this is the commercial plat that doesn't have any greenway. but we'll look at the rest of the residential that does, if you like.
And I want to add one more if I can.
Yeah, okay, we'll do all that.
Our intent is to dedicate them on all the other phases, so Renee's right, we do have it shown on the plat, and even on phases that haven't been platted that have them, we want to make sure they're dedicated as well. It's just, with the hub, there's not any on this plat.
Okay, well, I looked at all that, and I'll have to go back and we'll sit down and go through it, but I didn't see that adjacent dedicated anywhere in anything that's recorded. So
Is that
you'll
because
have to
that
show me.
particular plat is, there's not a plat on that particular area, is that why yet? We'll look at that.
If I follow correctly,
I know what she's
she's
talking
referring to
about.
the eastern boundary that's outside of
I
the
don't have the
hub.
map in front of me, but, yeah, I mean, I specifically
It's-
looked
yeah,
and
it's on the
and-
phase
and
one
tried to
plat
track that
for
parcel, and I
prominence.
couldn't see,
Okay.
I couldn't see
And
that.
that's the only one that one came prior to, that one was actually done prior to us doing the amendment, if I'm not mistaken, so we may need to look at that phase one.
It's coming
And
up
that's
as
the one that
HOA
you're
land.
talking, yeah. I know what you're talking
If the
about.
HOA thinks that that's HOA land, then that's problematic in the
Yes.
future.
We'll look at that phase one, because I understand where she's coming from on that one.
And our goal, again, this has no relevance to the hub, but our goal is to make sure they're dedicated, so.
Well, worst
back to
comes
the-
to worst, we can replat phase one to get the dedication on there if it's missing, if it needs to be.
I'll say that's something maybe we can talk about.
Okay, all right. With all that said, on the hub,
Density bonus, so, you know, they received a density bonus for that dedication. So,
Well, and then to me, there's other ways to dedicate it other than replanting. You know, we can come up with an easement and dedicate it.
easement, yeah,
So,
doesn't have to be.
I just want to make it clear, and that's the fourth time I said it, is our goal is to dedicate it. And if we have to do some way to do it, it has no relevance to the hub. And, you know, we still have two phases to plat prominence, so we want to make sure it gets done as well. So I understand, and I won't comment anymore.
all right, with all that said, I would make a motion to move this forward to the BCC once all comments have been satisfied.
Second.
Motion and a second by Bob. Any further discussion? Let's make sure we get this right before we move forward.
I have a question. Has the density already been granted? Is that what you were saying?
Yes.
Yeah, this development's built out, they've submitted their
Yeah,
last.
we're down.
Yeah, we're down to the bottom.
So since they, is that
Make sure
why
we-
there's no dedication?
loose ends
Because they
tied up.
already built it out?
That just may be something that, you know, I mean, it's hard to follow up on, you know, because it doesn't necessarily have to be on, it could be an easement, it could be some other, you know, dedication, so.
Yeah, as long
just
as
have
we
to
fix
go
it
with
if it's
and
not
make
there. And phase one is the only one that I would have any concern about, because when we were amending the PUD and the DRI, we were processing phase one in that time period, and it was actually done off the previous PUD. Phase one that was already on the ground. So that one there, I could see where it might have got missed before we dedicated it when we did the amendment, the Greenway section. So we need to look at phase one. I definitely agree with you, so we'll take a look at it.
But for the hub,
The hub is good to go. The hub's good. All right.
thank you.
We didn't vote.
Okay.
can make
we
a
have
vote.
Motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any
Thank
opposed
you.
likewise? This one is approved to move forward to PCC, subject to satisfaction of any outstanding.
And you getting your minor development order on the amendment to the first.
Yep. yes.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll go back to agenda item number 8. This is Emerald Bay Phase 2A replat being reviewed by Renee Bradley.
Okay, this is a plat application submitted by DeBerry Preble Rich requesting approval to replat 23 single-family lots on 4.54 acres in compliance with the Development Order 040280 and a variance received on December the 14th, 2016 for reduced rear setbacks for pools from 15 to 5 feet and 5-foot side setbacks for homes. This project has a land use of coastal center and is located within Emerald Bay Development of Regional Impact. I have very minor questions. The one thing I will say is that for the record, we need to change the acreage on this. The application acreage was wrong. Therefore, the ad for TRC was wrong. So that needs to be changed before we go to the BCC to have the correct acreage. I do need the receipts for all the payments so that we can show the board this has all been previously paid as far as recreational fees go.
What's the correct date?
4.54.
4.54.
The only question I had was about the survey, since, you know, everything's been, the infrastructure's already been installed, it's been installed years ago, right? So they were just ready to pull building permits and wanted the setbacks to be consistent with the entire Emerald Bay.
Right.
And so this boundary survey with topo and it says a current
All you had to
condition
do was
information.
produce the one that we previously had.
Well, I was gonna ask you for, it says all current conditions, so I didn't know if you needed as-built plans of all the infrastructure and everything else, or just the
You can
survey
provide me
provided for the
the-
previous.
Yes, for the previous plat. We required a survey for the previous plat. You can use that one because it should be within a year.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
The one thing that I would like for you to add to this plat that I noticed did not get added to the previous plat is to put that these are in a cover zone. I think that should be on the plat so people are notified when they buy out there that it's on.
Yeah, I looked at the original plat, and it's on there, but it's not
Is
on the
it?
replat, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll put it on
would
there.
you, can you fix, it was on there, okay.
Mhm.
That's all the comments that I have.
And just for clarification, this area was previously platted. This is a replat to change the building setbacks.
That's it.
That's correct,
We're
and
not changing density, not creating any new lots.
no, but will the name have to change? I believe it will, because you can't replat something under the same name, so you need to check with the clerk on that.
It might-
I think you're gonna have to have something different in this name for it to,
Right, we'll check in on that. I'm not a
Okay.
surveyor, I have to
Yeah.
ask my surveyors.
and I didn't get survey comments in time to answer, so I thought maybe he'd pick up on that. So I would make a motion that we move this project forward to the BCC once all outstanding comments have been met.
Yeah, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Bob. Any further discussion? There being none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed likewise? There being none, motion carries. This project's approved to move forward to BCC subject to satisfaction of outstanding comments prior to advertising. Okay, we'll move to item number 10. That is Water Sound Origins Phase 2B, Cell Center Model, being reviewed by Renee Bradley.
This is a minor development order for a temporary use order application submitted by Water Sound Company LLC requesting approval of a sales center of 2,600 square feet to later be converted into a single-family home in a temporary parking lot for 20 spaces on the proposed lot 103 and 104 of Water Sound Origins Phase 2B subdivision on 20.69 acres in the Water Sound Origins Phase 2B development located within Water Sound North DRI. This is also located within the Bay Sector Plan, but this is one of the last developments we'll do underneath Water Sound DRI. I don't have any major outstanding comments. Actually, was very few. There's some application questions. I would like to see a site data table that has the ISR, FAR, all of that in there. I didn't see any kind of site data table on there. With the calculations, please, if you'd include those. Landscaping for the temporary parking area, Mac, that was kind of a question I had for you. On both ends of the parking aisles, we got 10 spaces on both sides. Do we need landscaping for this temporary use?
It's a temporary use, that really would be triggered,
Okay. And just so that answers that question for you.
which they may want to from a marketing standpoint to make it look as nice as possible.
Yeah, that was my thoughts when I was reviewing it, would help.
We more
So
than likely
not necessarily
will.
meet our standards, but put something in to make it look.
We will.
The other thing was architectural plans did not actually show the height. They basically wanted me to measure it out, so you
Okay.
put the heights on there from the average grade. And that's pretty much all I got for you. You got any questions?
I don't, thank you.
Any further discussion? motion?
I'll make a motion that we move this forward to the development order stage once all outstanding comments have been met.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, let's vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed likewise? There being none, motion carries. This is approved to move to development order subject to satisfaction of outstanding comments.
Thank you.
And number 11 is our next item, Pathways at Watersound Phase 1, also being reviewed by Renee Bradley.
This is a plat application submitted by Watersound Company Incorporated requesting approval to plat 48 single-family lots. This project consists of 20.69 acres with future land use of Coastal Village 1. The project is located north of US Highway 98 within the Watersound North DRI and part of the Watersound Origins Phase 2B, which is also part of the base sector plan. I only have like 6 comments, and I have this numbering on my comments down there, I see. Your page numbers were wrong on your plats. I don't know what happened there,
Yep.
but we also need to know whether this infrastructure is complete or do some kind of cost estimate in the amount of 110%. And so I don't know where you're at with your infrastructure, and Blond said he didn't see where anybody had called for an inspection. So you need to call Blond Carter and get an inspection and figure out where you're at with that.
Okay.
I think the one more question that I had on that was that in the court order overlay, recreational fees were not necessarily required, but I can't find anything where this was part of the court order overlay, so I'm assuming that recreational fees are required on this project.
And unless we can find documentation?
Yes.
Okay.
If you can find something that shows me otherwise, I've got the amounts and everything placed in here for you.
Right.
These have been reviewed by Melissa, so she's agreed with the amounts.
Okay.
So we should be good on that. And being this is a residential plat, the recreational fees will need to be paid prior to us going to the board. And the addressing fee will be $500, I believe, on this one.
Okay.
Also has to be paid prior to going to board. So what I like to do is when these are ready to go to the board is have all the receipts in hand for these fees and have them attached as part of the staff report, if possible. With that said, I don't have any further comments.
Sammy, do you have any comments on this particular plat?
No.
Okay. Thank you.
I did have one question about the finished grade and the under the engineering comments. So you just need a letter stating that.
Oh, on the
On
plats,
the
that's
plat.
actually from Janice,
I was
so
just gonna say, yeah.
call
Okay.
Janice and ask her specifically what
Okay.
she needs. I apologize, I'm so used to pointing at him.
Is it the finished floor?
Right,
Yeah, they want
we require it 12 inches above the center line of the roadway, so I think they want it on the plat so that that condition is met when they build
The
the.
finished floor, that's not a problem. They're saying we're
Some
not
strange
not
questions on
finishing.
this one.
Yeah, we're not
And-
actually grading it.
You're not grading
And
each
then-
lot out.
Correct. And so then after, the lot's purchased, the builder finishes the final grade.
And that's
Okay.
the concern that she had, is because the stormwater is gonna be taken care of with the builder instead of them doing it pre.
We bring it to within
I understand.
12 inches.
I know, I understand what you're
Okay.
saying. I didn't make that comment, but I do understand your concerns.
I would get with Janice on it,
Okay.
get specifics exactly what she's looking for, that way there's no question.
Perfect. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments?
I make a motion to move this project forward to the BCC once all outstanding comments and fees have been paid.
Second.
Motion by Renee and second by Rita. Any further discussion?
I will note that, we won't put this on the agenda until we get the Mylar signed. just for anybody that's
Right.
doing plats. Until we get signatures on the Mylar, we don't place them on the agenda. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed likewise? There being none, this project's approved, subject to outstanding comments to move forward to the BCC once they're resolved. Next item is number 12, Gulf Atlantic Electric Warehouse.
Mr. Chair, this is a major development order application submitted by Emerald Coast Associates requesting approval to construct a 14,200 square foot office warehouse. The lot size is 1.14 plus or minus acres with the future land use of business park. This one has some minor comments, but it has a pretty major comment from environmental saying that it needed the environmental analysis completed. Because of that, I didn't know if we wanted to just conditionally approve pending that, or we notified the applicant as soon as I got the notice from environmental, so he's had time to react. Do you think that you'll be able to get that in a timely manner?
I do. As you're aware, this entire park had an environmental assessment performed on it. It was based on that we didn't redo another environmental assessment. However, if staff requires that, we can go out and get that done in the next few days. We've already started our responses. I didn't see any other comments that were concerning. We also did our own personal evaluation of the site, and I'm not anticipating any issues with wetlands or threatened and endangered species. So with that, I would say that I'm not anticipating any issues, and we can respond literally within days.
I don't think there's any issues either, but we have required all the previous applicants in that part to submit that, and some of them have had some wetlands and done the setbacks, but
I understand.
I don't think there's any
Wetlands
issues.
come and go, and they move from time to
Yeah,
time.
there's
I don't
not-
think this parcel's
I'm
affected, but
okay with
I get it.
Going forward.
All right.
Okay, with Kristen okay with that moving forward, I'd like to make a motion to conditionally approve the Gulf Atlantic Electric Warehouse major development order once staff comments have been addressed.
Second.
Have a motion and a second by Sam. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed likewise? Motion carries. Approved to move forward subject to satisfaction of comments. Okay, item number 13, the Azuro condominium. Did I pronounce that right?
Yes, you did.
Mr. Chair, this is a major development order application submitted by Emerald Coast Associates requesting the approval to construct a 4-story, 12-unit condominium. The project is on 3.11 plus or minus acres with a future land use neighborhood infill. There are comments. Most of them, it would appear, that can be worked out in a timely manner. In the compatibility analysis, staff concurs with it. So I'll turn it over to the applicant to make any comments.
Well, I agree with your presentation. We went through the comments and actually are close to turning those responses back in. We got a start on it in the past couple of days. And I think we should be able to turn this the submittal back into you and hopefully get on Planning Commission meeting soon.
Okay, I see where environmental commented about your beach mouse that you have and active, but when I talked to you, you said that you were going through the recertification process.
Right.
Do you have that paperwork? Because I'm getting a lot of calls about this beach mouse.
Okay. I can, sure, I know that we've corresponded with FWC. Our environmental consultant has met with them on the site, And they are in the process of obtaining, the permit that's required.
You have to get a new permit? I saw about, it's not expired, you have to go through some kind of additional process?
There is the former permit, I believe, has expired, but they are discussing reissuing the permit based on the new building. Now, there will be a review, but it'll be it won't be a full re-review of the project. They ought to be able to expedite it some.
Because I could have sworn I saw it wasn't expired, but maybe it is, because the environmental consultant had put. It's not expired. It's not, yeah.
It's not expired? Okay. I was under the impression that it had. Okay.
Okay, we will be real clear about that and make sure, because, like Bob said, that's the issue du jour.
Yeah, but isn't it a reconfiguration of what was previously?
It's exactly the same. I looked at the permit.
It seems like some of the neighborhood have adopted these and they feed them. So there was concern about it.
It's the same building, same building footprint on that permit. I looked at the permit.
Somebody needs to buy some insurance.
All right. Well, I'll confirm with Jeremy Reisers, our environmental consultant, and find out if the permit is still valid. Whether it is or not, he's going through the process with FWC to either maintain the permit or reinstitute the
It
permit.
may take so long if it's not.
Is that okay with move forward with you then? With that still up in the air? Conditionally
As far as I'm
approved?
concerned, I looked at it and I thought it was still a valid permit, so we can't condition our approval on their permit anyway, so.
Okay.
Yeah, due to change in state law, we can't require those permits to be produced prior to development order approval. We can require that they be produced prior to commencement of construction.
Right.
And that would be the circumstance.
Okay, then, if there's no other questions, then I'd like to make a motion to conditionally approve the Azora condominium major development order once staff's comments have been addressed.
Second.
Mr. Chairman, maybe you heard on this?
Do we have any further discussion? This is a major development because it's in neighborhood infill. This is technical review committee, and we can accept technical comments and questions from the public. This is not a public hearing on this project. That will occur at the Planning Commission once it moves to that stage. But we'll now open the floor for questions and comments related to the technical aspects of this particular development.
Thank you. If I could address that, my name is Will Dunaway, and I represent 20 of the single-family property owners who are on San Roy Road. And just as the discussion was just talking, we appreciate you pointing out that the Choctaw beach mouse issue, this being Tier 1 habitat, is an important issue for you. Now, I understand, and you are correct, you don't condition at the technical level, but it is an important review technically for you. And we would hope that you would make sure that that is absolutely rock solid as far as that permitting process, because this has been, as the county knows, because the county looked at this for purchase by the TDC for public park and public recreation area. The other thing, and because it was addressed in the staff report, I would like to ask the question of staff, the technical question, with regard to the compatibility analysis. As the code specifically requires for infill, the special development conditions under this category, Form Chapter 2 of the Land Development Code, requires that compatibility with the existing neighborhood. And as the staff report takes pains to articulate, it talks about the across the road. I would like to ask staff to focus on the fact that while this is technically off of the access road coming north and south, it's really the San Roy Road neighborhood. It is in front of, directly in front of, 3 single-family residential properties on San Roy Road. Look at your map, if you would, to make sure that you understand that this is the San Roy Road neighborhood, not the neighborhood to the east of this proposed project. And on San Roy Road, the compatibility analysis ought to focus on that road and those properties located on that road. And those are single-family properties. And that compatibility issue needs to be very carefully reviewed. And I would ask staff to opine as to why that wasn't specifically addressed, the San Roy Road nature of the compatibility. It only looked east across the access road going north and south.
It's my understanding that there would be no access to San Roy Road on this particular development plan. All of the access, all of the traffic would be on the north-south road immediately to the east of the subject development.
If I may interject, there's actually a parcel in between this property and San Roy Road.
In fact, there are 3 single-family homes in between this property and San Roy Road. They front San Roy Road, and but for the odd configuration of the fact that the beach parcel is cut out from those, all other parcels go from San Roy Road to the Gulf. The 3 parcels that were stopped short, which allow for this one parcel, which is the proposed project, makes it odd and makes it a part of the San Roy Road neighborhood.
We did have extensive conversations regarding this during peer review, and staff looked at the whole neighborhood, neighboring areas. We did not focus on one direction or another. We did discuss the entire properties that were close to the subject property.
And the compatibility analysis was reviewed, and staff concurs that that acreage would, with the surrounding density, would allow for 15 dwelling units, but the applicant has reduced that number, so they're not even asking for the maximum density that they could achieve by their compatibility analysis. But I did review it, and I do think that it did a fair analysis of the neighborhood in the study zone.
Do we have any other comments?
Not from our side. No, sir.
Okay. We'll close the floor to technical questions and comments from the public. Any further discussion by the committee? Do we have a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to additionally approve the Zorro condominium major development order once staff's comments have been addressed and resubmitted.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Bob, second by Renee. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed likewise? Motion carries. This project is approved, subject to satisfaction of outstanding comments before moving forward to the Planning Commission.
Thank you.
Okay, number 14 on our agenda is Beechwood Estates, being reviewed by Tim Brown.
Good morning. This is a major development order application submitted by Dewberry Preble Ridge requesting to develop 22 residential lots on 3.3 acres with the future land use of neighborhood infill. The project is located at the west end of Rachel Road, west of Sugar Drive and south of US Highway 98. There were quite a number of comments, but they're all pretty minor in nature. There were planning comments, there's one environmental comment, there was some public works comments, and there was some comments on the compatibility analysis, which is mostly they didn't provide the averages. You're required to provide the averages of building height, lot dimensions, setbacks, density, whatnot. But like I say, they're mostly minor in nature, so I don't see any reason why it cannot move forward. So that's all I got.
We've reviewed the comments and we're working on addressing them.
Could you state your name for the record, please?
Alyssa Pettis with Dewberry Proberish.
Do you have comments, Joe?
Yes, sir. I was just asking about the drainage easement and the landscape. Looks like you got the landscape right down there in the drainage easement.
Well, we put, the drainage easement's there for the storm pipe, but you have access to the pond through the road.
What about that area here?
Your site plan, Tim?
Storm pipe. That's the only reason there's a drainage easement.
Tim, do we have a site plan on this project?
I guess I did not attach it. As in terms of background, this was formally submitted as Sydney Park PUD, which was requesting 23 single-family lots. That project was withdrawn. This project has been submitted for 22, but no, I guess I forgot to attach the site plan.
This is one that had some issues when it came through before as the previous tiny house subdivision, and I think part of that was related to the amount of preservation.
Yeah, in terms of the environmental comment, I was hoping Kristen would speak up, but Sydney Park did have preservation requirements, and this one shows no preservation at all.
Well, it's inconsistent in his report, so he needs to revise his report, because he's got two different statements in there that are conflicting about what's out there. So he should address that.
We've reached out to the environmentalists to address those comments.
Yeah.
Or that comment.
Is this not a 50% community?
Well, it may be, or it may not be.
Well,
Can't
under
tell because-
under the Sydney Park submittal, it was.
That's what I was thinking about, and that was one of the issues because we had so much preservation on lot.
Yes, we wanted them to put it in common area, but they refused to do that.
And the landscape plan doesn't identify anything other than perimeter land use buffer.
I didn't make the comment, but I did go back and look at the Sydney Park submittal. They were, you're exactly right. It was 50% preservation. Most of the preservation was shown on the lot. We asked them to show that in common area, and they wouldn't do it, but in the end, they ended up withdrawing that
Let me just say this, there's been confusion in the past about what is required preservation. So we need to have an environmental expert go out there and tell us what community that is, and then go from there.
We need to come back.
He said two different things in his report. I went out there and it's definitely a transitional area, so it's, you know, it's gonna take somebody with that expertise to tell us, and he needs to go out there and do that correctly and get it consistent in the report, and then we'll see. You know, because at this point, I can't tell.
I think that is a significant issue for this particular development to be resolved because it could potentially significantly affect the design of the subdivision.
We'll get environmental back out there.
I'd recommend we continue this one until next month.
And if that previous report identified it incorrectly, then he's gonna have to do a lot of work to get, you know, to what it is now. And that report that he submitted this go around is not anywhere close to what we're gonna need.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, do we have any other technical comments to discuss on this one?
Do you have any questions?
Could it be possible for y'all to take that wording out of there on your drainage easement?
If we
Y'all
get,
could remove that, then we have no issues with it.
if we get drainage easements on top of the landscape buffer, that's a concern. Can't do both in the same spot. You can encroach up to 40%
With the directors.
with the director approval.
Yeah, which would be 4 feet in this case.
So
need to send them that format for that request.
Okay. We'll get that taken care of.
Okay. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to continue this item to the next TRC, May 3rd.
I'll second.
Motion by Tim, second by Renee, to continue to May 3rd. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed likewise?
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item is item 15, Alice Beach Block J replat, being reviewed by Tim Brown.
Yeah, this is a plat development order application submitted by Interlight Engineering requesting to replat 5 lots in Block J within the Alice Beach PUD. It's located on .507 acres with the future land use of traditional neighborhood development. It's located on the north side of West Lagarza Lane, west of North Charles Street. They're proposing to eliminate 4 lots and turn them into common area and then 1 lot will remain, which is Fonville Press. It's the lot that Fonville Press. The comments are minor. There was planning comments and there was 1 comment from the county surveyor, but one of the comments, which is, I guess, not really minor, is it's going to require a less than minor development order application to amend the previous Block J approval, since they're losing 4 lots. It's going to 15 to 11, right? 15 lots to 11 lots. I don't see any reason to hold the project up, but of course it couldn't go to the county commission until that less than minor project is approved.
I'm David Smith with Interlight Engineering Corporation.
Eddie Foster, that's good.
And we have reviewed Tim's comments and the staff report. We understand about the less than minor development order application to amend the original Block J. We understand we will do that. So I agree with Tim also that, you know, it'd be our preference as well if we could move forward with a plat, but understand we will have to do that before the plat does move forward. And we have no further comments.
I'm curious, David, is it going to be parking? Is this common area going to be parking?
Park.
A park. It's going to be so there'll be basically a park right behind Fonville.
Yeah, the existing one's gonna be expanded a little bit.
Yeah, because there was a play. There's a play area there.
We're just making that play area a little bit larger.
And you're relocating the entrance off of North Charles, right?
Well, that entrance off North Charles was a temporary entrance. We're making it a permanent entrance.
Okay.
Can I ask a
We
question?
moving the giant pile of sand?
The Fonville Hill,
Yeah.
it's coming back.
Okay.
Is there gonna be any buildings or anything associated with the park?
Okay. Any other technical comments? What's the pleasure of the board?
I make a motion to approve the project pending resolution of all outstanding issues / comments and move it forward to the Board of County Commissioners. Second.
Motion by Tim, second by Bob. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed likewise? Motion approved.
Thank you.
Thank y'all. Number 16, Preserve at Paradise Cove, being reviewed by Tim Brown.
This is a major development order application submitted by Interlight Engineering requesting to develop 99 residential lots with pool amenity on 75.02 acres with a future land use of CR 2:1. Project's located north of US Highway 98, east and west of Blakely Drew Boulevard. They're actually accessing through another development to get from Highway 98 up to this development. Again, there was quite a few comments, but my comments were pretty minor in nature, but there were also environmental, engineering, mosquito control, and 911 addressing all had comments. 911, there was no road names, so they're asking to provide road names. I'll let the other departments bring up their comments. Go ahead, Joe.
If y'all would, these detention ponds, I think we can get to this one from your roadway, but if y'all will, we're gonna need some dedicated drainage easements, like a minimum of 10 foot if you can.
We have on, like, see, there's that one.
Yes, sir.
But we'll make sure we call them out so you can see.
Yeah.
We do have, like, access for you guys to get to all the facilities. We'll make sure we clearly note that.
Gotcha. As long as we put it down on paper, we're good.
We'll do it.
All right.
I have a question. The access that's going through a already established subdivision, what kind of impact is that gonna have with that additional traffic?
It was all master plan. It's the same developer.
Okay.
So this is just, you know, it was thought through. There's access easements that go through there, so it was all planned out, you know, in its entirety. So it's a main roadway that goes in north-south connector.
So it was planned to have that any more
That's why
additional
at the end there's a T turnaround with stub outs.
Okay. Yeah, I don't have a plan, so it's fine, I guess. Okay, thank you.
There was also floodplain comments from Aaron. Aaron's not here, so if you have questions, you'll have to.
The floodplain on this project, as far as the area we're proposing to develop, is minimal. So and I'm sure you saw that too, but I don't see that being an issue. There's a large part of this project we are not developing, and the majority of that is floodplain. And that'll also spill into, I had a question on your comment, if I could, too, Kristen, on the gopher tortoise.
Yeah, you have this one that had it identified on your.
And those are well outside of where we're proposing to develop. There's a large area along the eastern side we're not touching. It will remain as existing vegetation and preservation. And that's where the two tortoise burrows were, so we're way away from those.
Did your environmental analysis include, was for the entire parcel?
It did, and it shows
Okay,
those.
so you're not, yeah, just provide a comment response that you're not, that they're located, because I don't know where they actually are, that they're located.
He had a map in the environmental assessment, and there's two of them, but I'll make sure we respond accordingly.
I didn't see that. I missed that. So-
But they're along that area that's being preserved. Anyway, so we're not proposing any development even close to
So
it.
you will not need a permit?
No. I mean, we're, I would say, hundreds of feet away. I mean, we're way away.
They can run pretty fast.
They have a whole other area. They want to run around.
I'll tell you where you can see them run, next to the highway, on Coy Burgess Loop up near Defuniak. They'll come out of the edge of the woods and run right down the right of way.
They're actually pretty fast.
Yeah.
I was going to ask how fast they want to run.
How pretty fast? If you ever seen that, it would be
They're fast.
startling
fast.
sight.
I guess it'd be the hair there.
They give you run pretty
Pretty
much.
much,
Yeah, I'm good.
These that live out there could, anyway.
You sure it's not possible? Can I
You
call
just
Dylan?
can certify that you don't need a permit, and I'll take that out.
And we did consult with Lyle on that, and we're well outside, because my understanding, you may have to correct me, this is we can go up to within 25 feet.
Okay.
25 feet, and we don't need a permit, but we're like way away.
Okay, good.
So other quick question is the comment on the 50-foot setback from the creek or the river. We meet that, but how do you all determine if it's a creek?
Well, I just looked at like, if it's hydrologically connected, you know, that's how I do it. I mean, if it's something that was man-made or dug as part of a stormwater facility or something, I mean, but this is definitely I mean, you can see where it comes from and to.
Because and again, this is a conversation.
Creek, river,
It's
stream.
a little bit of a vague area because to me, it's more wet weather conveyance because it is dry when it's not raining. And so we meet it anyway. So
Just show it on there, yeah.
So I'm just curious if you guys had and I know that's a vague area. It's definitely not a river, but you know,
No,
it's just,
but it's probably a creek.
Might be later today.
so I just wanted clarification, but we'll make sure we address it.
Environmental assessment should tell us whether it's a creek or not. I mean, if we would get particular.
No, I mean, what I've been doing is just looking at, you know, the quad sheets and what they connect to, where they come from, and, you know, if it's clearly, you know, coming from a larger water body or to a larger water body, you know, that's what I've been doing.
And I will say that creek beds do dry up, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, just that.
And then
to
they
add to
flood
the
when it
discussion.
rains.
Ditches also
Do-
flow water, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but, you know, a man-made
You know what I'm saying?
ditch
Yeah,
is
dude.
pretty easy to tell if some's man-made ditch, or, you know, if it's a stormwater facility, I can look back at the old plats, or, you know, that's, you know.
It's a non-issue for this. I was just
Yeah.
curious if you guys had a set, and I know it's vague, so I understand, but that, I don't have any further comments.
There's a blue line on the quad sheet. That's the-
Yeah. I agree.
Any further discussion on this one?
I had another question.
Okay.
Traffic?
Did I have it?
It was not in the staff report.
If there's no traffic comments, then that means we're good. We just don't issue the traffic letter until all comments have been addressed.
So, sounds great, thank you.
Yep.
I have no further comments.
Just see reason to hold it up.
And David, we may have to, we'll talk offline, but we may have to increase the width of our team.
Okay.
Yeah, they review them.
No.
Okay.
Anything to hold it up?
I don't think so.
Well, I'll make a motion to approve a pending resolution of all outstanding issues / comments and move it forward to the planning commission.
Second.
We have a motion by Tim, second by Bob. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed likewise? Motion carried.
Thank you all.
It is approved, subject to satisfaction of comments to move forward to planning commission.
Thank you.
Thank you. And our next item is number 17, the alley abandonment in block 85, being reviewed by Vivian.
Yes. This is an abandonment request, requesting to abandon a 20-foot alley behind lots 9, 10, 11, 15, and 16, block 85, town of Santa Rosa plat. Had conversations with the applicant. We would like to request to table this until they have had a chance to approach other lot owners in that same block. We're looking to add some other owners and request further abandonment of that block. And so at this moment, make a request to table until they have decided to amend their application and move forward.
This is the one we talked about where there are other similarly situated folks that.
Yes. Yeah, it's the same block.
So that's your motion?
Yes. That's
I'll
my
second.
Motion by Vivian to table and second by Renee. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed likewise? Motion carries. This item is tabled. It can be re-advertised for TRC when it comes back. And that brings us to our last item, number 18, which is the Seacrest Beach Lagoon and Amphitheater Improvements Phase 1. Being reviewed by Vivian also.
This is a minor development order application requesting approval to add 4 garbage rooms to the existing bathroom pavilions and improvements to the East Pavilion concessions. And also had conversations with, or email communication with the applicant and spoken with the architect of the project. And there were some rather vague references in the, or unclear references in the application, and decided that we're just going to have some discussion, minor discussions before having it returned to the TRC, the next TRC. So I make a motion to continue this project until the next technical review committee. Second.
We have a motion by Vivian, a second by Rita. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed likewise? Motion carries. This one will continue to the May 3rd PRC. And that being the end of our agenda, our meeting is adjourned.
Can we take a road trip to see these speedy tortoises run? I'm past the